Okay, when you see uh, American TV, the mainstream media, even at their best, when they talk about Nicaragua or Venezuela, I'm sorry, but any of them really, Venezuela, Nicaragua, whatever, uh, they portray the protests as being populist. They portray them as being popular. They portray them as being supported by all, uh, different groups. And the truth is, especially in Venezuela, that they're only the protests are only supported by people who support the paramilitaries and other people who support the business class. So the 1% or whatever. I mean, just like any other capitalist country, which Venezuela is still a capitalist country, they portray it as being communist, but it's not communist in the least. The only thing that they've done since they've taken over, since the people have taken over, is cut poverty, and this is pretty extreme stuff, back by 50%. Now they're just trying to hold on to that. But when you see stuff on TV, whatever you see, unless you go to Telesur or somebody who's got, you know, a bit of a conscience, you'll see that stuff. Now, they'll take the people who do protest about problems in their country, and this this would only happen under a, Maduro or what's his name, who was before Maduro. Uh, they couldn't even protest before then. But look what they're protesting. Watch this, because this is, at first you'll think it's like typical right-wing kind of propaganda, but it's not propaganda at all. In fact, watch what they say. And notice that these people, these are the people of Venezuela. These are farmers from out in the country marching to Caracas, and you'll be surprised what they're. Well, what I wanted to point out was they're not like the protesters who are like the nut jobs that are fighting the government. They're actually allowed to march to Caracas to make their grievances known. You'll be surprised what their grievances are.
Campesinos have been marching for 12 days, and they still have 170 kilometers to go before reaching Caracas with their mission of saving agricultural production.
We need supplies so we can maintain our crops in order to feed our people.
Government institutions are full of officials who are not doing their work. They are corrupt, inefficient, lazy. This kind of bureaucracy has hurt us campesinos and our fields.
Okay, now your first impression is right. Like, they're complaining about the government. But, well, wouldn't you be surprised if they're complaining about the old guard? So really, Maduro and Chavez, they didn't, just because they got to be president and they got to do a lot, doesn't mean that they controlled the whole country. In fact, the right-wing business bosses, the business class, still control not only most of the economy through their money, through their ownership of everything, but the government too, because you know that in a capitalist economy, that capitalists buy off the government and take over the government too. Well, guess what? They still run it across the country, run a lot of the government through, the classic, Yeah, thug politics, thugs on the ground. And so here's the surprise.
Small farmers do not want to deal with middlemen anymore. They want President Maduro to listen to them and act on their demands.
We mean to define what are the failures and to formulate a strategy to dismantle these mafias that have unfortunately taken over and are damaging the campesino sector.
Campesinos assert that landowners have ordered the killings of over 300 campesino leaders with the goal of taking away their lands. Justice has yet to be served.
So this is the people of Venezuela that you never hear. The only people you get to hear are the few people in the cities paid off by exactly who these people. Look at her. She's just a typical, indigenous looking type person. They're the ones who are trying to do the farming and they're trying to hold on to probably what's left from centuries ago of indigenous farming. And they're being crushed through the typical capitalist type. You know how they do it. I mean, they take over everything. And these are the people saying, look, we want to be able to compete with these big ag, right? And no doubt that, these are people who take vacations to the United States and know Americans and get to know them and make their plans to take over the land, take over the country. Capitalism is insidious. I mean, I wish it weren't. I wish that it was, just your typical old-fashioned capitalism I used to read about in my economics books. Oh, I mean fiction. Where competition was the goal and all that kind of crap. It's all bullshit. And these poor people, all they're doing is they're trying to come to Maduro and say, hey man, you're one of us. Help us hang on. Maduro should not only help them hang on, but he should replace these mafias that these people are talking about, these entrenched capitalist assholes, right, with these people, and should train them not to just become them again, become the same, greedy thugs, and help raise the country out of poverty through, because these people are trying to say, look, you give us the tractors and barns and the things we need, and we'll grow food for this country, and we'll, cattle and all that kind of stuff. Do it. Give it to us. Take it away from the people. Because I'll tell you something, man. Capitalism, unless they're wanting to impress you with their ability to actually take care of the people, which they'll do from time to time. They want the people to put a little gold star on their, a little paper saying, yeah, you're not all that bad. And they'll do that just for show. But these people are saying, let us do it. Give us the knowledge and the technology and stuff to grow properly, because they're not being helped, and they don't have the ability to do it themselves. They need government help.
Today, we are marching for our dignity, to reclaim our worth. We are the ones working the land and feeding the people. The people saves the people, so we call on President Maduro to help us.
Campesinos are willing to defend the Bolivarian revolution, and this means achieving food sovereignty. With this goal, they will continue to march, trusting that they will be received by President Maduro in Miraflores Palace.